Hello and welcome to Job Sports Reports, where today I will be predicting this weekend's Premier League matches. I'm just going to go straight into it, starting with the Saturday morning kickoff between Stoke City and Leicester. Leicester picked up a very good win recently against Everton in Klopp Well's first game in charge. I think it might be a decent little coup for Leicester. Obviously, Klopp Well was a bit negative during his time at Southampton. It remains to be seen what he could do with Leicester. They looked quite good against Everton, but Everton themselves haven't been that great either. Stoke City, I remember a mate of mine, Crevan, saying he reckons Stoke will be fighting for survival this season. I think they'll be okay. They haven't really overly impressed, but they're one of those teams that will just be mid-table this season and just consolidate their Premier League position. I think I'm seeing a 1-1 draw here. I think Klopp will make a continue his good start at Leicester with a 1-1 draw with the Britannia. Moving on to the 3 o'clock kickoff, Southampton against Burnley. Southampton, another team under Mauricio Pellegrino that hasn't really started that great or that badly. They got a good 1-0 win last weekend with Boufal scoring an absolute wonder goal. They face a Burnley side who, again, have been very up and down, very, very good away performances, and were very, very good against Newcastle. I say up and down, they're on level points with Liverpool. So they've done very well for themselves. Sean Dyche, of course, has been heavily linked with the Everton job. I could see him going, but I won't understand why, because he's doing such a fantastic job with Burnley. I see them finishing mid-table again this season. I think what he's built there, especially with the Irish contingent of Hendrick and Brady there as well, he's really built something very, very good there at Burnley. I don't see why he would throw that all away by going to Everton, even though Everton itself would be a very, very decent project for him. For this one, I think another draw here. I think Burnley have been decent enough away this season. Got a draw at Liverpool, beat Chelsea away, got a draw at Tottenham. I could see a 1-1 here. I think Pellegrino's, again, another manager who will take time to get his philosophy across. I think 1-1 in that game as well. Moving on to Newcastle against Bournemouth. I got my games up on the phone there, so if I'm looking down, that's why. Newcastle against Bournemouth. Bournemouth have really, really struggled this season. They're in the relegation zone as we speak. Just hasn't worked for Eddie Howe. He was tipped to be one of the next England managers. It just hasn't worked for him this season with this Bournemouth side. I just don't think they signed enough quality during the summer. They signed Defoe, but he did very, very well at Sunderland, but he's getting old now. Asmir Begovic had a shocker against Chelsea last weekend. Newcastle, they're on the up and up despite their defeat to Burnley. Of course, they could have investment very, very soon from Amanda Staveley, I think her name is. Again, not enough quality in the squads, but with Rafa Benitez in charge, they seem to be doing quite well. I expect them, again, around mid-table this season. Newcastle. Bournemouth, I should have mentioned for my previous video. If you want to go check it out, it's on my channel, my Q&A. They could be real contenders to go down if things don't change. So for this one, I'm going to say Newcastle win this match by 2-0. I think they can continue their good home form. And I can see, especially if the investment comes in by Christmas, I could see a massive, massive January transfer window for Newcastle, which could even elevate them to try and get into the Europa League. Maybe a bit too soon, but especially in the next few seasons, with the right investment, and especially with Rafa Benitez in charge, they could do bits this season and the following seasons as well. Moving on to Huddersfield against West Brom. Huddersfield have done okay so far this season, of course, on the back of their win against Manchester United. Got beaten at Anfield, but I've been a little bit impressed by Huddersfield. I think another team that maybe I should have mentioned for my relegation prediction, but good manager, very good manager. They've got some good players around them as well. De Portolay looks like a decent striker. West Brom, again, very up and down this season, aren't they? They did okay against Manchester City, only lost 3-2. But again, another team that's not going to do much this season. Tony Pulis, again, very good at keeping teams in the Premier League. Again, not much in this game. I'm going to say Huddersfield nicked this, actually. I'm going to put my neck out on the line for that one. I'll say Huddersfield beat West Brom by 1-0. Next up is Swansea against Brighton, two teams which I predicted to go down. I think Swansea have been very, very poor this season. They did okay against Arsenal, like I said, but they again no real quality in the squad to for me save them. Wilfred Boney hasn't done much. The loan signing Renato Sanchez hasn't done anything for them. They sold Llorente, they sold Sigurdsson, and they just look to be struggling badly. Brighton, they got a good win, I remember, against West Ham 3-0. Another team that maybe, again, don't have enough top quality players to keep them in the division. Nothing against either side. I just don't see much in this one either. A few dud games this weekend, to be honest, but we're getting on to the good stuff. I'm going to say Swansea, Brighton. I'm going to say 1-1 for this. I think it may already be a big game for Swansea in terms of trying to get out of the bottom three, get away from that. Speaking of teams trying to get out of bottom three, the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday sees West Ham take on Liverpool. West Ham, of course, in a dreadful rut. Lost 3-0 to Brighton, of course, and they did okay against, they beat Tottenham, of course, in the League Cup, but they massively capitulated against Crystal Palace. A Crystal Palace side who really hasn't been doing anything this season. Antonio, what was he doing for that second goal? Absolutely pathetic. Slaven Bilic under massive pressure. I think a thumping here at the hands of Liverpool would really put him against the wall. I think Bilic's time is done. He spent the money. They did all right in the transfer window. Arnautovic, Hernandez, Hart, Zabaleta, but again, just not enough. Tactically poor, defensively poor. Liverpool have performed well in the last few games. Granted, they've been against Huddersfield and Maribor. I've obviously got smashed by Tottenham at Wembley. I'm going to say, with Liverpool, anything can happen. Anything can happen with this Liverpool side, especially against teams that they tend to see as easy wins. But I do think Liverpool will come on top on this. I think West Ham's confidence is at an all-time low. I think Liverpool will go into this. I think it's only going to be like a 2-0. I think West Ham will try and grind it out in the first 45 minutes like Maribor and Huddersfield did. But if they open up, Liverpool are going to tear them to shreds, especially on the big Olympic Stadium pitch. I'd say Liverpool win this one 2-0. Moving on to the big Sunday fixtures, we see Tottenham at home to Crystal Palace. Tottenham on the back of a magnificent 3-1 win against Real Madrid. Dele Alli stealing the show at Wembley against Crystal Palace side, who have done well enough under Roy Hodgson recently. Obviously, the win against Chelsea and coming back from 2 down against West Ham. But I can't see anything other than a Tottenham win here. I'm sorry, but Tottenham are just too good at the moment. I said I don't think they'll be a powerhouse, but I think in the next couple of seasons, especially if they finish in the top 4 again and get to maybe the quarterfinals of the Champions League, I think we could be seeing a real project here under for Tottenham. I think they're going to win this 3-0. Pochettino, Mauricio Pochettino, under Mauricio Pochettino, I think they could have something special here. So I say Tottenham win that 3-0. I'm going to go to Everton against Watford, waiting for the 2 big games. Everton have been very poor this season. We've seen that, sacking Ronald Koeman, yet to bring in a replacement manager. Obviously lost 2-0 last weekend, which leaves them in the bottom 3. It's just been very poor for Everton this season. And again, they spent well, in my opinion. They spent enough money, but with the likes of Pickford, the Keane, Sigurdsson, and getting in Rooney, but Rooney's been all over the shop with his personal life as well. Sigurdsson hasn't exactly hit the ground running. Watford, another team that could struggle this season. Start off the season well, 3-3 draw against Liverpool, but I see this being, I think Everton will nick this. There's something about me that says Everton will nick this one by a 1-0, but it could be another very dud match. But we move on to the big games of the weekend. Manchester City versus Arsenal. Arsenal have been playing quite well recently. I record this just before their Europa League game against Red Star Belgrade, I believe. Manchester City, though, have been tearing teams apart. 4-2 against Napoli. They've hit 5 against Liverpool. They've hit 5-6 against numerous teams this season. Their front line is absolutely amazing, and their defence is very good as well. Arsenal in these big away games recently have not performed well. Obviously, they got the good 0-0 draw against Chelsea, but they capitulated against Liverpool, and they capitulated so many times last season against the big sides, especially over the last few years. And there's still, could this be an audition for Alexis Sanchez as well, potentially going to Manchester City in January, maybe even the summer for free? I think with the quality that Manchester City have in this in their lineup, I think they're going to win this 3-1. I think City will blow Arsenal away, especially in the first 25 minutes, especially with the likes of course, Sané, De Bruyne. I could go on again about how good their attacking quality is. But we move on to arguably the biggest game of the weekend, which is Chelsea against Manchester United. And what is happening with Chelsea? They got absolutely mauled by Roma midweek, and there's so much talk about the likes of Morata, Conte leaving, Diego Costa situation in the summer. They haven't exactly hit the ground running. They're up there, but they haven't set the world alight. And as champions, they need to improve, and they haven't improved at all. Defensively, you could see against Roma, they were all over the place. And if Manchester United went and attacked this Chelsea team, I think Manchester United would do them. I really do. But it's Mourinho at Stamford Bridge. It's a big game. It's up to Mourinho to take the game to Chelsea. And if they take the game to Chelsea, I think we could see a very, very impressive Manchester United performance. But saying that, will Mourinho go there and just go park the bus, get a 0-0 draw? Because if you're a Manchester United fan, I don't think you'd want that. I think you'd want to go to Stamford Bridge and prove a point. Go there and beat the champions and really consolidate yourself as title contenders. For me, I think Mourinho will park the bus, which is what nobody wants. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1, but if Manchester United really go at this Chelsea team, I think Manchester United win this 2-1. But if Mourinho parks the bus, draw. If United go at Chelsea, it's going to be a Manchester United victory. I hope you enjoyed. Leave your predictions in the comments below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Leave them in the comments below. This has been Job Sports Reports, and I'll see you in the next video.